Look, I'm not going to tell you how to parent your kids, but I am going to give you my recommendation on how to talk to them and deal with your children when it comes to an active shooter. I have never been one to shelter my kids from the reality of the world, because if I'm not there to mitigate the reality of the world for them, they are now faced with having to deal with the reality of the world without my help and safety. So that means that if they don't know what the reality of the world is, they will be unprepared to deal with it appropriately. Now, a lot of parents have talked to me about, how do I talk to my kids about active shooters, because I don't want to freak them out. I don't want to, give them PTSD having that conversation. You just do it in a way where you're speaking with them, not at them or towards them. Have a conversation about this situation. Say, there are bad people in the world that do bad things. It is my job to protect you, but I will not always be there to protect you. And there will be times when you're faced with these bad people wanting to do bad things, and you're going to have to make good decisions to avoid either putting yourself in that position, or if you can't help it, how to deal with it to survive and to be safe or to get away from it or whatever. My advice is you just have a conversation and say, these active shooter events happen, and when it happens, you need to be ready. And you need to, obviously, I promote the 5 steps of my program, Alive, but if it's not my program, if it's simply just run, hide, fight, talk to them and walk them through what the best way to do it is, and do it calmly. When I'm asked about how to teach kids in a classroom setting, I rarely ever teach kids under 12 years old, because it's hard to say what they're going to do when things really go bad. What I do though is I teach teachers how to guide their students in these situations. And what has to be done is, it has to be done calmly, because those kids are going to be looking and absorbing the energy of that teacher when something like this happens. Remember, parents, when your little child would fall down and the first thing they would do is look up at you to see what your reaction is. And if you freaked out because you were afraid for them, they would start to cry. And if you didn't, because maybe you didn't even notice it, they would be like, oh, okay, and they just brush themselves off. When my kids would fall, I'd clap and smile and go, hey, great job, nice one, good job, let's see how your recovery is. And they're like, oh, okay, I guess it's not such a bad thing. Talk to your kids and teach your kids about active shooters in a very calm and rational way, so that is the energy they will reenact if they're ever in that situation. We don't want to cause kids to have PTSD. Companies that surprise and scare kids by having a mock active shooter event without the kids and teachers even knowing it's going to happen is not a good and responsible way to do this. But people, you got to talk to your kids about them. It's better you, as someone they respect and love and want to learn from, tell them the right way to do this, than them seeing it all over the news and not know what to do. So yeah, reality sucks sometimes, but your kids need to be prepared for reality, because whether it sucks or not, it's going to happen. Reality is going to happen. And if one of these things happens, they need to be ready for that reality.